Okay, howdy, and welcome everyone to our very first study jam for this semester. And today we'll be learning about the Google Cloud platform and just a little bit of different technologies that you can use on that platform. And we will be doing some interactive quests and labs through the Quick Labs platform, which we sent an email about earlier. But even if you haven't registered, we will cover that process again in the presentation right now. So don't worry about that. And without much further ado, I'm going to dive right in. So let me go to the next slide. And we are learning about Google Cloud, right? So there is this short video that I want to play, which will tell us a little bit more about using cloud and why it's important and what are the benefits. So
get ready for a cloud-first workplace. Jumpstart your career by signing up for a Google Cloud hands-on learning experience. Companies around the world are moving to the cloud. This is a unique opportunity to gain new skills and professional credentials. If you want to discover a career, scale your startup, or perform groundbreaking research that will change the world, this is the event for you.
awesome. So about the cloud study jam, and we're just going to cover a little bit about what the study jam will look like if you haven't attended one before. And let me go to the next slide. So what exactly is a study jam, right? So in this cloud study jam, now study jams can be of different types, and we are organizing a cloud study jam. So you'll be learning about Google Cloud, the fundamentals of the GCP, like the Google Cloud platform, how to run containers on it, how to use the platform for data engineering. And these are, of course, some things that we will be covering today. How long do study jams take? Now, usually they take about 3 to 4 hours, depending on what topic we're covering, how many labs we have to go over. And what is the end result? Well, you get Google hosted badges that you can use in your online profiles. When you complete the different Quick Labs quests, you get badges which you can then share your public profile with your network. You can share it on LinkedIn. You can put these skills on your resume. And it just shows people that you are familiar with a Google Cloud and how to work with the GCP platform. So let me go to the next slide. So the agenda for today, if you have taken a look at the GCP Essentials quest before, there are 5 different labs in that quest. Now we will not be covering all of the labs, but I guess it depends on like how much time we have left towards the end. But the agenda right now is that we will complete the first 2 labs of the quest in 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then we're going to take a 15-minute break and then go over the next 2 labs in the quest. Now, the 5th lab, you can complete it at home because once you register for the study jam or once you go through the registration process, which we will cover right now, you will get 1 month of free access to the Google Cloud platform, to the Quick Labs platform, and you can learn as many different things as you want. You can complete as many labs and quests as you want within that 1 month free access period. And so what we're going to have you do is you will complete the 5th lab at home, and that is when you will get the badge for completing the entire quest. So you need to complete all of the labs within the quest to earn the badge for it. And once you do that, you will then be able to share your public profile and all the things that we talked about earlier. Other things that you can do, I just mentioned that you're going to get free access to Quick Labs for a month, and you can use that access to learn and earn additional badges in different things like Kubernetes, machine learning, AI, cloud infrastructure, application development, and many more. You can choose whatever you want to learn. And while you're learning and completing all of these amazing quests and earning these cool badges, you can share your progress with us in our Slack in the random channel. You can share your badges with us, and we'll be happy to check out your public profile and see all the amazing things that you're accomplishing. So that is the link to the Slack. If you haven't joined it already, you can join it at that link. But let me go over to the next slide. So get set and go. So let's get started, right? And what all of you are going to do now, if you already registered for a Quick Labs account, that's perfectly fine. But either way, what you're going to have to do is go to this link in an incognito window. Now, the reason we ask you to open this in an incognito window is because when you complete the individual labs, Quick Labs will provide you with like a sample like email address and a password. So you're gonna have to log in with those credentials, and we don't want you to accidentally log in with your personal Gmail or your university account or something like that. So go to this link in your incognito window and let me see if I can grab the link for you. Can put it in the chat. There it is. So let me see. So when you click on this link, you will be taken to this page, and yeah. So it's going to say Google Cloud Skill Badges. You want to scroll down more to where it says Infrastructure and Architecture and the GCP Essentials Quest. Now, this is the one that you want to enroll in. So you're going to click on Enroll, and it will take you to a new tab where it's going to ask for an access code, right? And the access code that you put is this 1S hyphen college station hyphen 0304. Let me see if I can copy that, put it in the chat. So that's going to be the access code on this page when you try to log in. If anyone has any questions or if you're running into issues, please let us know in the chat. Also, there is also a breakout session or like a breakout room. It's called Q&A and help. So if you have to like share your screen at any point, or if you're running into specific issues, you can go into that breakout room and one of our facilitators will help you out. But I'm going to give everyone about a minute to complete this step because it's very important that you do that. So put the access code here. Let's see. Should we be signed in? Yeah, you can go ahead and sign in. So if you haven't signed in already, you won't be seeing like your picture here, but you will be seeing the option to like join in or sign in. And if you haven't made an account, you can click on join. If you've made an account, you can click on sign in. And make sure to sign in with the account that, like whichever account you prefer, an account that you will have access to. So sign in with that. Okay, is everyone through with this step? Can I get a thumbs up or just some kind of indication? Awesome. Okay. And just remember, if at any point you have any errors, you can go to the breakout room. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. Now, we are all signed in, but if any of you had any issues, this is the slide for troubleshooting. If you already had a Quick Labs account, or if you were already enrolled in the quest, or you had to unenroll or something, you can refer to this. Of course, if you have, like if any of these things happened, let us know in the chat and we can help you address that. So next, we are learning about cloud technologies today, and it is great to see everyone's interest in learning about cloud and all of the related cloud career opportunities. So we all know that university education provides a strong theoretical foundation, right? You learn about different things in your classes, but in order to do well in the industry, you need to have some kind of industry skills which will help you launch your career. And you begin your journey to cloud with cloud study jams because you learn about different technologies here, right? Cloud study jams give you an introduction to Google Cloud. So when you complete all the labs in Quick Labs Quest and get your badges, they unlock deeper learning benefits. And you have already taken the first step today because you're attending the event right now. So after attending study jams, you can go on to build your cloud muscle with the Google Cloud Career Readiness Program, right? So you deep dive with in-depth training courses on Coursera and Quick Labs with the 1 month free access that you get. And upon successful completion of the training, you will receive a course completion certificate from Google Cloud and Coursera, which of course you can, post on LinkedIn, or you can mention it in your resume. So learning opportunities with Google Cloud are a great way to prepare for cloud careers. And we're just going to see what are the possibilities with cloud, right? What all things can we do with cloud? So we're going to take a look at an example. Now, this is a really popular game called Pokemon Go. Now, how many of you have played this game or heard about it? I'm sure you must have heard about it, even if you haven't played it. Okay. I'm assuming the silence means yes, you've heard about it. So, Pokemon Go is a mobile application, right? And it uses many services across Google Cloud. When the game first launched, the team had targeted, say like X traffic, X player traffic. So they had assumed that there would be X number of people or like that amount of traffic hitting the app. And their worst case estimate was roughly 5 times that number. So it was 5X. Now, when Pokemon Go actually launched, its popularity caused the traffic to surge rapidly, and the player traffic, and I'm not sure if you can guess this, but it reached 50 times the initial target. So instead of being 5x in the worst case, it became 50x, right? Which was 10 times the worst case estimate. Now, with such a large amount of traffic hitting the app, um, the application was still able to work properly, right? They were able to scale and meet the demand with the reliability and scalability that was provided by Google Cloud Services through Google Kubernetes Engine, HTTP load balancing, Google Cloud Data Store, and different things like that. And we will be learning about some of these services today. So that's just to give you an idea of where we're headed. Um, so I'm going to go to the next slide. And what is cloud as a service? So there are three main types of cloud-based services. There is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, infrastructure as a service, or as it says in the slide, IaaS, infrastructure includes raw resources such as virtual machine, networking, storage, and more, right? It's all of the basic things that you need. So these are like the resources, these resources are the fundamental building blocks of cloud computing. Now, when you consume infrastructure as a service, you have greater control over the resources, but also greater management overhead. For example, if you consider a virtual machine, and we will be talking about this today, you need to install, upgrade, and patch all of the software required to run your application. Now, you can configure your virtual machines to scale based on the load on your application. So some examples of infrastructure as a service will be the Google Compute Engine, networking, and load balancers. And again, we will be looking at these today, so don't worry if you don't yet know what these are. Um, Now, platform as a service, it provides a platform with managed services where runtime environment and network settings are pre-configured, right? So this makes it easier for you to develop and deploy your application because some of the settings are already provided. And one example of this would be the Google App Engine. So if you've ever made a website and hosted in Google App Engine, you're probably familiar with this. So Google App Engine comes pre-configured with runtimes for Java, Python, Node.js, and many other languages. And software upgrades and patches are automatically applied. And load balancing is also pre-configured, right? So this enables the developer, which is you, to focus on the application logic only instead of having to worry about the infrastructure setup. And the last thing is software as a service. So this is when the entire application is managed and made available in the cloud environment itself. And one example of software as a service would be Gmail, which all of us are familiar with. So what all of this allows you to do is that you don't have to manage your own infrastructure. You can use managed services instead, right? So consider the infrastructure needed for an online game. So if you were making a game, just kind of think about the different kind of infrastructure that you would need for that. So you can use the Google Cloud services to store object data such as images and video files, and high volume or semi-structured data such as streaming or game data. And you can also store relational data such as user ID, name, and so on. Now, there are multiple options such as Kubernetes engine for your application runtime environment. This is where your application code executes. And you can also build apps which use other services like Google Maps and YouTube. So with cloud-based services, like it says on the slide, you don't have to set up and manage your own infrastructure. You can simply focus on developing your app and then use these managed cloud services to make it available globally in just a few minutes. So that was just a little bit of introduction. And now we're going to get started with our Google Cloud Essentials quest. So we're going to take a look at Lab 1. And excuse me, this will be a tour of Quick Labs and the Google Cloud Lab. So you should, so with the link that we shared earlier, you should be at this page, right? Which is the Google Cloud Essentials Quick Lab quest. But if not, you can go to this link. If you don't see the quest, you can go to google.quicklabs.com/quest/23. Let me find that link for you. Put it in chat. Okay, this is the link. So everyone should be at this page by now, and you should have already entered the access code and also signed in. And this is going to be the first lab that you do, right? So a tour of Quick Labs in Google Cloud. Now it's going to look different for you because you haven't done the lab yet, but if when you click on it, um, it's going to take you to this page, right? And before you actually jump into it, you don't want to click on the start lab button yet, because when you start the lab, it starts the timer, it starts the countdown. And if you run out of time before actually finishing the lab, then you'll have to restart. So don't start it yet, because once you read all of this information, it tells you when to start the lab, right? So it's going to um, tell you that now that you've understood the features and components, you can go ahead and start the lab. So you can look at the interface here. It's gonna for all of the labs, it's gonna give you an overview, some learning objectives, prerequisites, which are none for this lab because it's an introductory level lab. And this specific lab is basically going to teach you how to use the Quick Labs platform and also like the Google Cloud platform. And you're going to go over all of this information in this lab. And there are also these interactive kind of mini quizzes, you can say, or questions that you can answer and then check if you got them right to kind of check your understanding. But it's going to walk you through the entire process. So let me go to the next slide. So now we're going to go ahead and start lab 1. And you can read the objectives. You're going to learn about the Quick Labs platform and also the Google Cloud Platform console. So this lab takes 45 minutes. Now, maybe you will not use that much time and you will end early. That's fine. But when everyone is done, you can, put it in the chat and let us know, and we can go over to the next lab. We don't have to wait the entire 45 minutes. But you all can go ahead and start the lab. If at any point, again, you have any, not start the lab as in the start button, but you can go ahead and start reading and get started with it. Now, if at any point you have any questions, post them in the chat, or you can also go to the breakout room and one of our facilitators will help you. So yeah, get started. I'm going to leave the slide up and I'm going to play some music in the background. So
Um, hey guys, um, just to make sure that your quest is going through, you can only answer those multiple choice questions in the starting section after you start the quest. So start the quest, then you can answer those questions. That's it.
Okay. Um, we will go ahead and take a look at lab 2 now that everyone is done with lab 1. So let me go to the next slide. And there is a little introductory video. So let me play that, and after that, Shrey will take over. So
Welcome to the first Cloud Labs episode on the GCP Essential Quest on Quick Labs, creating a virtual machine. In this quest, you get your first hands-on experience with Google Cloud. Get comfortable with the basics like spinning up a VM and configuring key infrastructure tools through working with more advanced Stackdriver and Kubernetes concepts. You'll work your way through each lab on Quick Labs until you have completed your quest and receive your badge. You do not need a Google Cloud Platform account or project. An account, project, and associated resources are provided to you as part of each lab. Let's see what this lab is about then. Google Compute Engine lets you create virtual machines running different operating systems, including multiple flavors of Linux, Debian, Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Core OS, and Windows Server on Google infrastructure. You can run thousands of virtual CPUs on a system that has been designed to be fast and to offer strong consistency of performance. In this hands-on lab, you'll learn how to create virtual machine instance using the Google Cloud Platform Console and using the G Cloud command line. Create a virtual machine with the G Cloud command line. Deploy a web server and connect it to a virtual machine. It's helpful if you have familiarity with standard Linux text editors such as Vim, Emacs, or Nano. Google Compute Engine is the foundation to Google Cloud Platform's infrastructure as a service. Next up on our quest is Compute Engine, Quick Start Windows. A quest is a series of related labs that form a learning path on Quick Labs. Completing this quest earns you this badge to recognize your achievement. Good luck and have fun.
awesome. Shrey?
Alrighty. So basically all of Google Cloud, you will need some form of credits to access it. And credits are usually bought via money, but right now they're giving Quick Labs is giving them to you for free. And basically what you can do with credits is you can start doing projects and basically have multiple projects. And with each project, you can have a quota, you can enable billing, you can enable APIs. And APIs are like, there are cool ones like Google ML, where you can like train your machine learning algorithm, or they're like Google Maps API. All of those APIs, you can enable them. And more or less, it's just like a full admin level access to that project that if you create it, it gives you. Um, Next, Dakshika. Oh yeah. So Google IAM, or Identity and Access Management, defines like basically who can do. So there's three components, and they can mix and match the who's, what they can do, and on what service or resource, right? So let's say I am the admin and I want to give Dakshika some access to my compute engine. I can say Dakshika can, let's say, manage my compute engine, right? And then there's different levels of management as well, but y'all get the idea. Like I can basically give very granular access to people based on just being an admin of the project. Next slide. Yep. All right. So as you know, like many times, whatever resources or projects or websites you're working on will be needed to be accessed via different locations of the world. Let's say I'm working on a web app that's 100% in Chinese. 99% of my targeted audience will be in China, right? So what you can do is, instead of having the website hosted on a server in the US, you can host it in China, if that makes sense. So let's say um, your region will be um, a, like a specific like zone of a specific area of China, and each of that. So I guess the region is China. No mind, and the zone is like a specific section of China. So let's say your app only focuses on East Chinese goods, right? Then you would probably host your app in East China so that the people who use your app the most have the least latency while getting up to the website. Um, you will get to know more of this in like kind of how you deploy the website. Like you once you have deployed it, you can get metrics where it can say like, hey, a person joining from California has this latency versus a person joining from New York has this latency, and a person joining from Texas has this latency, and then you can manage your servers and locations like that. But essentially, what this helps in doing is that the person closest to the server will have the fastest access to it because it has less jump points on the internet. Um, yep. All right. So what is actually a virtual machine? So as you know, you all have physical computers. They have a specific range of compute power. You have some RAM, you have some memory, you have an operating system related to it. A virtual machine is essentially a small chunk of a huge supercomputer that the company owns, right? And it what the good thing about virtual machines is that you can buy any chunk of that supercomputer. So if you, let's say, if you want just a huge amount of RAM and low amount of disk storage, you can buy that. If you want a different operating system than your current operating system on two different virtual machines on the same computer, you can buy that. Essentially, they're fully fledged working computing systems that are not physical in nature, but they still exist. And that's why they're named virtual machines. Yep. So with Compute Engine or for the Google Cloud Platform, you can have basically all the different variants of virtual machines and basically every single peripheral that you might need. So you can have high CPU, high RAM, and you can even choose between DDR RAM and other RAMs. And there's persistent disks, standard disks, SSDs, local SSDs, depending on how fast you want your read write operations from the file system to be. Then you can use snapshots to save basically sort of um, like games where you're like, hey, I want to save this. So if I dive ahead, I can come back to this location. So it's sort of like that with snapshots, and you can load from snapshots. And yeah, instant metadata and startup scripts basically help you to ramp up your VMs to a certain level before they can even start, and like have a specific set of monitoring services deployed to them and stuff like that. Most of the times, we will be just dealing with the first three topics here. Fourth and fifth are kind of like when you go into production and you're working for a huge company and there's different things you want to deploy. All right. Well, let's get started. I believe you still have access to the quick labs, and you can click the lab 2, and then you can start doing it. And there might be actually, Dakshika, can you take me to lab 2 on quick labs?
Yep. 1 second. Wait, did you want the
Click
actual?
on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And scroll down to task 3. Scroll down a bit more. Oh, actually, task 2. Sorry, last part of task 2. Yep. Um, in step 5, when they say to copy paste it, do actually copy paste. Don't click the link in external IP, because there is some issues with port forwarding because Google manages these URLs via a URL script, and it just messes up in that case. We had an issue with that yesterday, so I'm pretty sure it's still up today. So just copy paste it into the Chrome tab rather than clicking on that external IP link. Yep. And let us know if you have any questions while doing the lab.
And also, one thing, real quick. So, when you look at the quest outline, there are it says it gives you two options for lab 2, right? Create a virtual machine or compute engine. So you want to do the first one, creating a virtual machine. But yeah, that is it. I'm going to leave the slide up and you all can post your questions in the chat as usual. And I'm going to play the music now. Okay, so some people are having issues, and I think it might help to create more breakout rooms. Now, I cannot create new rooms right now, so I'm gonna have to ask people to come back in this room. Shrey, do you think you can go to the breakout room? Oh, you did. Can one of the officers go into the breakout room and ask everyone to come back?
I got it.
Okay. There is still one person.
Yeah, we'll need to wait for half a minute. Dakshika, you're creating a new room, right?
Yes, I'm doing that right
Okay.
now.
So just make 4, QA1, QA2,
Yeah, that's
QA4.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
I was in the break room with Link. Oh.
Yeah, Myung, you can go to breakout room 1 or QA1
QA,
with
yeah, June. Okay.
Alexander, and Dean, you can join QA2. I'll be right there.
Okay. Um, Hopefully everyone is done with lab 2. We are running a little bit short on time, so I'm gonna go over to the next slide. And okay, it says that it's a 15-minute break, but let's take a 5-minute break if you all wanna go to the restroom, grab a cup of coffee or something. We're gonna come back in 5 minutes and then um, get started with lab 3. So now I'm going to go to the next slide and we're going to start with lab 3. There is again an introductory video, so let me go ahead and play that.
Google Cloud Shell provides you command line access to your cloud resources directly from your browser. You can easily manage your projects and resources without having to install the Google Cloud SDK or other tools on your system. With Cloud Shell, the Cloud SDK, G-Cloud command line tool, and other utilities you need are always available, up to date and fully authenticated when you need them. Cloud Shell provides command line access to a virtual machine instance in a terminal window that opens in the web console. In this hands-on lab, you will learn how to connect to computer resources hosted on Google Cloud Platform via the web. You will learn how to use Cloud Shell and G-Cloud command. We encourage students to type the commands themselves to help encourage learning of the core concepts. Many labs will include a code block that contains the required commands. You can easily copy and paste the commands from the code block into the appropriate places during the lab. When you're done with this lab, you'll know how to launch Cloud Shell and run G-Cloud commands. All you need to work on this lab is familiarity with standard Linux text editors such as Vim, Emacs, or Nano. An account, project, and associated resources are provided to you on Quick Labs. This self-paced lab is part of the Quick Labs Quest GCP Essentials. Completing this quest earns you this badge to recognize your achievement. Next, you will provision services with Cloud Launcher.
Awesome. So Alex is going to give us an intro to this lab. So Alex.
So to continue on with the video, we'll be using the Cloud Shell and G-Cloud. And the Cloud Shell is a Debian-based VM, which makes it easy for you to manage your cloud platform projects and resources. And what Cloud Shell comes with is the pre-installed Google Cloud SDK, as well as other Linux tools. So stuff like Bash or SH and other Linux utilities will be available, as well as 5 GB of persistent disk storage. And Cloud Shell just provides a convenient command line access to the virtual machine instance through a web browser. So what we will be doing in Lab 3 is to connect to computing resources hosted on GCP and practice using some G-Cloud commands.
Awesome. So you all can go ahead and get started with this lab. And let me see. It should take about $45 minutes. And again, if you all finish early, just like put it in the chat and we can move on to lab 4. Okay, so now we're going to go over to lab 4, and I'm going to play the video.
Hi there, Heather again. And hello again from me, Jenny. I'm a sales trainer for Google Cloud.
Users expect apps to be available 24/7, and developers also expect to be able to deploy new versions of their app multiple times a day. On today's episode, we'll introduce Google Kubernetes Engine.
We'll also run through a quick demo of the self-paced lab where we'll deploy a containerized application with Kubernetes Engine. Let's get started.
As a starting point, let's take a moment to discuss containers as well as Kubernetes.
Absolutely. So containers address the problem of how to easily and consistently deploy apps in different environments. They essentially allow apps to be broken down into smaller, independent pieces that can be deployed or managed dynamically. Containerization also allows the separation of apps from infrastructure, which is going to allow developers to focus on their apps, while IT operations teams can focus on deployment and management. And because containers are so lightweight, individual services can quickly be called when they're needed and are available almost immediately.
Which brings us to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a production-ready, open-source platform and provides a container-centric management environment. So instead of having all of your applications separate from your libraries and your kernel, each application has its own library associated with it, resting above a kernel. Kubernetes allows you to interact with your container cluster to deploy and manage your apps, perform administration tasks and set policies, and monitor the health of your deployed workloads.
Google Kubernetes Engine is the premier managed Kubernetes solution. Leveraging Google's infrastructure, Kubernetes Engine provides the perfect managed environment for deploying, managing, and scaling your containerized apps.
Simply describe the compute, memory, and storage resources your application containers require, and Kubernetes Engine will provision and manage the underlying cloud resources automatically.
Google also wants to ensure that your users have a seamless experience. So Google Site Reliability Engineers, or SREs, constantly monitor your cluster and its resources to ensure that your services are highly available. Kubernetes Engine auto-scaling will also allow you to handle any increased demand while scaling back during those quieter periods.
From Gmail to YouTube to search, everything at Google runs on containers. Google Kubernetes Engine allows you to benefit from all that we've learned the last decade on building container management systems.
Time again for quick labs. This hands-on lab, which will take about 30 minutes to complete, shows you how to deploy a containerized application with Kubernetes Engine. You can check out the link to start the quick lab here. At this point in the lab, you've created a Kubernetes Engine cluster and authenticated for the cluster. To deploy a containerized application, you'll create a new deployment from the Hello app container image. You'll then create a Kubernetes service, which is a resource that lets you expose your application to external traffic. Once deployed, you can inspect the deployed service. You can then view the deployed application from your web browser using the external IP address with the exposed port.
Well, there we have it. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would love to hear more about how you would use Google Kubernetes Engine.
Don't forget.
Awesome. So Aditi will be doing a quick intro to the lab. Aditi?
Yeah, so the main motivation for a container-driven architecture is to be able to use virtualization with more relaxed isolation properties, to be able to share different components of the operating system between applications. So, and these applications essentially comprise of a cluster that using Kubernetes terminology. So using containers also helps maintaining consistency between your development environments, whether you go from development or testing or production, because this is a point of problems for a lot of development teams. The apps often break down when deploying, so creating this container image helps ensure that both environments or all environments are similar. So many of you may already be familiar can you go to the next slide? Sorry. Okay, so many of you may already be familiar with Docker and have used it before in internships or projects. But essentially, Docker helps you package applications as a Docker image. And this image package contains the application itself, as well as all the software required to run that application. So that the development tests and production environments are the same. So all of the dependencies and the application code as binary are packaged together in one lightweight product. And a container registry is used to store private Docker images in a repository, and Kubernetes is used to deploy those container images that you create on Docker as a node in a cluster of different services that all work together. So this would be similar to doing these operations on physical servers, but having Kubernetes connect all of these services together makes it much more scalable and reliable than it would be on physical servers, and allows you to use the virtual machine method of, I guess, development. So other nodes in the cluster are usually compute engine virtual machines, as you made in lab 2. And can you go to the next slide? And so in this lab, we will be creating a Kubernetes cluster and deploy a containerized application on it. So you guys can get started.
Awesome. And let's try to maybe finish this lab in the next 20 minutes. We are going to go over time a little bit, but I still want to make sure that everyone gets out as soon as possible. Let's aim for 20 minutes. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the study jam, and you all have completed 4 labs from the GCP Essentials Quest. Now, the next lab or the last lab, which is lab 5, you can do it after the study jam is over. You will still have access to quick labs, and you will have 1 month free. You'll get credits worth of 1 month, and you will be able to finish up lab 5. And once you do that, you'll get the GCP Essentials badge. And just to kind of go over a little bit of lab 5, just to give you an idea of what it is. So it's gonna it's gonna cover setting up networks and HTTP load balancers. And what this means is that, say you have a website deployed, right? And then at one point in time, there is a lot of traffic hitting that website. So what load balancers help you do is that they split up the traffic, and so that your server doesn't go down, or that there is not too much traffic hitting just one kind of instance. So that is how you balance the traffic, and you will learn more about it in the lab. So this is what the objectives for lab 5 would be: to set up a network load balancer, set up an HTTPS load balancer, and get hands-on experience learning the differences between network load balancers and HTTP load balancers. So that is it for all the labs in the GCP Essentials Quest, and we're done, right? So I'm gonna send out these slides and also the recording of the entire event, and you can check out these additional resources to learn more about these things. And just one thing real quick. So you can, after completing the quest, you can go ahead and make your Quick Labs profile public, right? And I just want to show you, it's really easy to do that. So when you are logged into Quick Labs, you can go to My Learning, and it will pull up this page where you can see this View Public Profile button, right? When you click on it, it will say that your profile isn't public right now, so you can make your profile public. And once you do that, this is going to be your public profile, and you can like share this link with people, and everyone can see the different badges that you've earned. Now I only have 1 badge at this point. One thing, so if you go to My Learning again, and if at any point you want to disable your public profile, you can delete it, right? And then if you want, you can make it public again. So that is that. And let's see. So just to kind of reiterate, with Cloud Study Jams and the Career Readiness Program, your learning journey with Google Cloud sets you up strongly for competitions and internship or your first job, because these are skills that you're learning outside of your classes, and these will really help you find internships and jobs when you apply. So before all of us head out, I just want to say really quickly, so officer applications for next year are currently open. So if you're interested in becoming an officer for the Development Student Club, you can go ahead and apply at this link. It's text.add/DSC officer, and the deadline to apply is April 13, which is about 10 days from today. We will be reminding all of you at our next meeting and the meeting after that, so that this doesn't slip your mind. But that is for the officer application. Also, if you're not in our Slack or not on our meeting list, you can use these links to join those to become a member. And that is it. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. And I hope everyone had a fun time. We really enjoyed organizing the event and have a good rest of your weekend. Okay. Bye, everyone.